I see what's happening here. I need to copy this over. Copy. There we go. Now you should be able to hear me. Alrighty. Tabletop Tunes is finally here. Huzzah. I'm going to put this window off to the side. So it's slightly less distracting than I'm looking at the chat. Talking this way. Welcome, everyone. I'll just let the music play while we wait. Live chat thing on my face. Stream there. That is better. We'll let the opening track play through once, and then we will go through and we'll tour the app for you guys. And there we go, and it loops. Alrighty, well, I'm just going to get started here. I'm Anthony Sabatino, aka Moose the Scarf, and I'm here to show you the brand new music web app, adaptive music web app, Tabletop Tunes. It's an adaptive music app for tabletop RPGs and board games. And yeah, we've been working really hard on this for a long time. We initially launched in 2021 and now I've basically rebuilt the app from scratch and put it together and got a lot of cool new functions. So, as you can see, when you open up the page, it's just, the home page. You've got 4 different options here. And actually, I might edit the window here a little bit. It's kind of hard to see, but there's also, I'm such a boomer with Streamlabs, I apologize. But there's also tabs on the bottom. I think I'll just keep it kind of like this just to keep it clean looking. But yeah, we've got the 4 different categories: explore, town, battle, and miscellaneous. And the general idea is that you can create your own interactive soundtrack when playing a board game. So a lot of this, the idea for this came when I was, I'd be playing board games with my wife and some friends. We'd be playing like Settlers of Catan or Carcassonne or things like that. And we would just kind of want some sort of background music, but every time we'd find like a fantasy music playlist, it would just be inconsistent. It wouldn't be exactly what we were looking for. There's also dips in volumes if we were to do a playlist and where it just wasn't very consistent in quality and tone. And so I thought, man, I wish there was an app where it did that. And thus was birthed the idea of Tabletop Tunes. So I've got these kind of general categories right here, and let's start with explore. So you open it up, and you've got some categories here: forest, cave, dungeon. And you can just kind of go through and choose one. So let's just start with forest. Let's do Mystical Mire. And now you've got some nice, beautiful forest music. You have 3 different options, and every single option that's on there is built to stream infinitely. It will perfectly loop every time. There's no clicks or pops or silent gaps. It will continually stream or loop over and over, so it won't break the immersion. And then you've got 3 different options in here. Whimsical Wood is a little bit more Joe Hisaishi, Studio Ghibli kind of inspired piece. Luminous Lake is a little more kind of Game of Thronesian, rich cello kind of vibes. A lot of inspirations kind of putting this whole thing together, of course. Then you've also got some cave music that's a little bit more ambient, a little creepier, but still kind of explorative. Moss-ridden Grotto. I'm only giving you like little small chunks. Each song is like about 2 to 3 minutes long, maybe even 4 or 5, depending on some of them. And so you don't get the full idea of it, but you'll get a pretty good idea. Subterranean Stalagmite's a little bit creepier. You've got lots of different options for whatever kind of mood you're going for. And again, you don't have to worry about there being a dip in quality or style or tone. You can find the one you're looking for, and then it just plays indefinitely. Dungeon, a lot darker, a little bit creepier, So you kind of get the vibe with that. Let's jump over to town. If I can speak, town. I was going to say tavern. So we've got 3 different categories as well: village, kingdom, tavern. Just again, different options for whatever kind of campaign you might be running or what kind of vibe you've got. So let's do Town by the Sea. This is our favorite one in development. Song, nothing too crazy, builds, have that kind of jig feel. quirky, that kind of vibe. And then Peaceful Village, very, peaceful, acoustic guitar, little recorder flutes, give that kind of nice laid-back feel. But Kingdom's a lot more lush and rich feeling, so you've got these big, kind of grandiose, thick orchestrations, strings, horns, to get that regal sound. Trebuchets. A little grassier on this one. Kind of imagining, walking the castle walls. The volume's good on this too. Might turn the music volume down a bit just to make sure I'm cutting through, because I have no idea if I am or I'm not. I'm going to turn it down in the app as well. So this one's a little bit more militaristic was the idea, make it a little bit punchier, a little bit more like guards marching, you're going through kind of the ramparts of the castle. And then War-Torn Territories, much more dour, depressing, think Velen in Witcher 3. And then, of course, everyone loves a good tavern tune, and we've got 3 of them for you right here. Start with Tavern After Dark. Weird, I'm supposed to be going live through TikTok, but it looks like it's only going live through YouTube. I mean, nobody's watching anyways, so I guess it doesn't really matter. So we've got that one, very kind of sleepy time. It's late, you just want to have a few pints and then get back to the inn. Here's Pitchers and Pints. Speaking of pints, this is a little bit more rhythmic, a little more uppity, if you will. Then Tavern Brawl, much more upbeat. Obviously, all the tavern pieces were kind of meant to sound like a small group of bards were performing in the tavern. A lot of these were kind of more underscore. This is more kind of like a source sounding piece. And a fun fact: when I was at Berklee College of Music, in one of the film scoring courses, Dramatic Scoring 3. We had to rescore a lot of scenes from How to Train Your Dragon. We had to write a theme. We had to kind of develop the theme throughout the different scenes that we did. And this is my theme I wrote for the How to Train Your Dragon rescore that we did. So, yeah, little fun fact for anyone who may be curious. Hey, what's up, Relic Raider? Thanks for tuning in. So, yeah, that's kind of like the little secret theme. I think there's probably only about 10 people in the world who probably knew that. So, there's that. Alrighty. That's funny. I've never actually checked out Doctor Who. It's kind of one of those shows that everyone says I need to watch, and then I never get around to it. All right, so that's the town section. Here's the battle section, which is probably the coolest section of them all. So we'll start with the mild battle. So once we hit fight, check it out. You get a nice little intro stinger. And the coolest part about this is the intensity slider. So you can go, oh, we've got a visitor. You want to say hi? I'm doing a live stream right now. My daughter Elizabeth's here. You want to go back upstairs and find mommy and brother? Oh, yeah, sure. Here, 1 second. I've got to help her tie her bow on her dress. So I'm just going to turn the intensity up on this really quick. Boom. And we're back. That's the joys of being a parent and working from home and all that jazz. But yeah. So yeah, we've got the intensity slider here. Kind of bring it down. So like, the idea is like, oh, maybe you're fighting like 4 goblins. Okay, that's fine. But then all of a sudden, 10 more show up. Got a whole big intensity, and then you knock some of them out, so okay, a little bit less intense, and then now you've got a lot less, so alright, cool. Easy peasy. And then you can hit victory, defeat, or flee. Victory will obviously play a victory stinger. Defeat will play a defeat stinger, and then flee will just kind of have the music fade out and then return to whatever you had playing previously. Let's do just flee, just to kind of show that. And there, now we're right back to the music that was playing before, right where it was. Shout out to Jacob, my buddy who programmed the audio engine. I mean, it's really, really solid, so super happy with it. Let's go to tense music. And then here's another fun fact on this one. This was my video game scoring final project for the video game scoring class I took at USC with Gary Scheinman, who is the composer for BioShock and BioShock Infinite and a ton of other awesome games. And we were doing a rescore for Shadows of Mordor from one of the sequences. And so I was very orc-inspired, very Lord of the Rings kind of oh shoot, what's the name of that place? I can't remember. Like the orc theme from the Lord of the Rings inspired. And so again, you've got the intensity slider, so you want it to be more epic. Let's do defeat for this one. Game over. And then we return back from whence we came. Epic's one of my favorite ones, so epic battle. Let's do it. Fight! Let's do victory. Awesome, Relic Raider. Good to hear. Well, hopefully you could bring this Tabletop Tunes to the crew. That's the hope. Let me adjust my camera a little bit. Such a boomer with Streamlabs. That back there. And then, of course, boss battle. We got to do boss battle here. I made a creative decision for boss battle that there should just be one level of intensity. So just epic boss battle music for indefinite periods of time. Yeah, here we go. Turn it up. And so it goes. We'll let that play on for a little bit. Now, another cool thing that we've got as well that we just added with the new web app is the soundboard. So now we've got all these great options for sound effects, and you've got independent volume sliders for them too. Since we're doing boss battle, let's just do some combat. So let's just turn the volume up so we can make sure it cuts through, like sword. Those are all one-shots. We got our loops loop down here. And just to make sure you can hear it. So we've got that going right here underneath with the boss battle music. And of course, everything's got a volume slider, so you can easily finesse it however you want. And the theme. Fight, fight, fight. Beat the dragon. Main theme. Here we go. Yeah, and just keep on hitting it. Yeah, woo! We got some magic. Let's get some things going in there. We're building, we're building. Where's this gonna go? And then we're back to where we started. Good victory. Let's do a little peaceful village here. Show off some of the town music or loops here. So yeah, we got some. Like this one's good because it's like farm sound. So get some farm animals. Kind of marketplace sound. Got tavern sounds. The bell. So there's lots of great stuff in here, you know, all kinds of one-shots. If for whatever reason there's a storm coming. We got a wolf. Turn these off down here. So one of my favorites I like to do is get some fantasy forest music going. So let's start with Whimsical Wood. And then you can just get like a nice rushing river, maybe some bird sounds. Now you've got your, you can take a nice little nap. It's like the meme that they had when the Masters were playing. It's like, I'm just about to take the best nap I've ever had. Well, you could with Tabletop Tunes. When my wife and I used to live out in Los Angeles, it never rains there except for maybe once every 2 years. And so occasionally we would just put on rain sounds on our JBL speaker and just kind of listen to it, pretend like it's raining. Yes, very much like you're in the Shire. Summer's coming up, just take this out into the park, the forest, and bring a book, put this on, lay down underneath a tree a la Frodo. This is actually super peaceful. I'm loving this. This is exactly what I dreamed of. So, now let's show off the coolest part of this, the soundtrack builder. And I'm going to actually turn the music down a bit. Is the audio coming in good, by the way? I want to make sure that my voice is cutting through and you can actually hear what I'm saying over the music and everything. It seems like it is based off the levels, but you gotta trust your ears, not your eyes when mixing. I'm gonna turn all this stuff off for now, so I can give the spiel on the soundtrack builder. Well, actually, I'm gonna adjust the screen a little bit more so you can kind of better see soundtrack builder in frame. Oop. There we go. And now I will pause. So, the soundtrack builder was the last edition before launch, and it is one of the coolest things we have on here. So, of course, I've got Testy McTestface here, but I'll create a new one. I'll call it a Testy McTwoface because this is the second one. You get it? So, you create a soundtrack here. It's basically kind of like a playlist builder, but we didn't want it to just be like a playlist, that loops indefinitely. We wanted it to be, you could have a little bit more control over it. So, like, if you're doing a D&D session, where you've got a story where, like, okay, the adventurers start in the forest, and then they're ambushed by goblins, and then they enter into a cave, and then they fight a den of thieves, and then they loot the cave, and then go back to the tavern. Well, you can kind of do all of that right here. So, start with like a single audio track. Let's just go with a forest track. Let's do Mystical Mire. And then we could rename that if we want to Adventurers in the Forest. Then after that, we can add a battle track down here. We'll do mild, and we'll call that Goblin Encounter. So cool, we've got that. Now what we need to do is they're going to be in the cave, and this time let's do a group of tracks, and we'll just take all of these cave tracks here, and you could create them all into one group. And so a group is just kind of like a mini playlist. And so you could set how many times it loops. Let's just do 2. So the idea is that you can create kind of like a little mini playlist within the playlist. So your adventurers start in the forest, then you have the goblin encounter, and then they're in the cave, and maybe they're going to be in the cave for a good hour or so. You may not want the same song playing over and over, but you want a little bit of variety. So you can set up each song a little mini subgroup of these tunes to loop, and you could set how much each one goes. And so, like, maybe I don't like Subterranean Stalagmites to play too many times, so let's just have it loop one time, but the other two can loop as many times we want. And so then we've got that. We've got the exploring, oh my gosh, if I could type, exploring the cave. I spilt some coffee on my keyboard recently, so those keys are a little sticky. So yeah, exploring the cave. And then we have that other fight scene, so let's do another battle sequence, and let's do epic, because why not? And so we've, this would be Den of Thieves fight. And then finally, we return to the tavern, and that's in town, so we'll go tavern. Just do tavern after dark. It's been a long day, and then relax at the tavern. So now we've got our little playlist. So we just save. And then we can go and start playing. And now we've got our playlist. And so this little button down here is the next button. And that pops over through each individual one. All right, what you got there? About to go to lo-fi channel. Saw you're live with D&D music, so I figured see and listen. Yeah, glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, I know that it's definitely nice to have some sort of podcast or some sort of video going on in the background while you're doing chores. So yeah, now that we've got this playlist, the soundtrack put together, Testy McTwo-Face, we can just hit the next button every time we want to go. So Adventures in the Forest is set to just loop forever until we hit the next button. So all right, our adventurers have explored the forest, and then okay, they've gotten to the goblin encounter, so we press next for the goblin encounter. And now we've got the goblin music. And so we can turn the intensity up again, as per usual. And so it goes, and all right, so we defeated the goblins. Now let's go to the next group. We're exploring the cave. And the other nice thing as well is that, say hypothetically you jump the gun, you hit next. Well, all you have to do is just go back and hit any of these ones. So I'll just click Mystical Mire again. And now we're back to Mystical Mire. Easy peasy. I could just kind of click wherever I want in this. So in case, people want to play more non-linearly, well, you have the option to do that. So let's go over to the Moss-Ridden Grotto. Now we've got that going. And then let's hit next so we can get to the Den of Thieves fight. And of course, while this is all going on, you can open up the soundboard and get something going on, like the Battle Army loop. And then, all right, we defeated them, so now let's return to the tavern. Let's get some tavern ambience going. And there you have it. We've finished our campaign. Yay! So that's all well and good, but that does take some time. So let's say we've got a new one. We'll call this Testy McThree-Face. Because why not? So this is the coolest thing ever in the history of forever, and that is, you can't see it on the screen here. I'll just pull it up here. Whoa. See that down there? AI Scene Generator. That is correct. We have AI integration where you can write down the storyline of your campaign or session or whatever, and it will create a playlist for you. Before we do that, I'm going to turn off this tavern ambiance. Although let's get like a nice peaceful campfire going. Or maybe the moonlight. Yeah, let's do nighttime sounds. And now let's do the AI scene generator. And you can really type in just about any storyline you do. So one of them I like to do is give me a chill playlist for a simple game of Settlers of Catan. Then you hit OK. And it takes about 30 seconds to a minute, depending on the prompt and, depending on how the back end is handling everything. But then, once it runs, you will see it will have created a curated playlist for your chill Settlers of Catan session. And if you've got any questions in the chat, let me know. I'm happy to answer any. Future plans, all that stuff. Boom, there we go. And look, it even named it Chill Playlist for Settlers of Catan. It's got 3 different pieces of varying styles, and we can go in here as well, and it automatically defaults to loop once, but you can click this little button in the right-hand corner. Let's just say we have each one loop 3 times. And then save, and then you can start it. And now we've got our little chill playlist for Settlers of Catan. Easy as that. Now I'm going to switch back to edit mode and delete this. Now let's do a full-on storyline. So one thing that I like to do is, let's see, what's a good, let me think. Let's do famous Dungeons and Dragons campaigns. There's like something like Rhyme of the Something. If anyone in the chat knows, let me know. I think it's just Relic Raider at this point, but that's okay. Rhyme of the Frost Maiden. Alrighty, let's get a Rhyme of the Frost Maiden synopsis. Rhyme of the Frost Maiden. Alright. Let's check this out here. Alright. Beneath the unyielding night sky, you stand before a towering glacier and recite an ancient rhyme, causing a crack to form from the great wall of ice. Beyond this yawning fissure, the caves of hunger awaits, and past this icy dungeon is a secret so old and terrifying that few may dare speak of it. The mad wizards of Arcane Brotherhood. Okay, Bobby, you get the idea. So let's go through and to the synopsis. Actually, I mean, this is a bit abstract, but you can grab this. So let's just grab this right here. We'll just grab the whole thing and see what happens. So I've copied that over here, and I'm just going to paste it in. And we're going to see what the AI soundtrack builder comes up with. Look at that. That was actually really fast. So now it's got like the Glacier's Secret. It gave you some music for that. Entering the Caves of Hunger. You've got the Caves of Hunger. Terrifying Secret. The Arcane Brotherhood's Desire. The Fate of Ten. That's super cool. That's a really great start for a campaign. And you could obviously, go through. It's like, okay, maybe I don't like Luminous Lake as that pick. So I'll go through and choose, Mystical Mire instead. Or maybe I want to do Moss-Ridden Grotto. Okay, well, boom. I've swapped it out, and there we go. But that saves a lot of time for a DM and for just like anybody who just wants to, boom, go straight in there. All right, did Frost Maiden the other year. Finished Curse of the Strad inspired quest a few months ago. Let's try out Curse of the Strad. Curse of the Strad. I'll try not to get any spoilers here. Adventurers are mysteriously drawn. All right, I'm just going to grab this right here. Go over here. Let's just save that. And we'll create a new one called Curse of the Strad. Add scene, AI scene generator. Paste that in here. Just to kind of read through it. Adventurers are mysteriously drawn to the realm of Barovia, which is surrounded by deadly fog and ruled by the vampire wizard Strad von Zarovic. This gothic horror adventure takes the players on a course through Barovia that culminates with the vampire hunt, using a deck of these things. Well, let's find out what it does with all this technical information on it. I'm actually curious to see what it's going to pop out because, we'll see. There we go. That was really fast, too. There we go. Subterranean stalagmites. I have noticed that sometimes that it gives you two of the same thing in a row. It happens, every now and again. Again, it's super easy, so it's like, okay, I didn't like that it gave me two of those, so let's instead go to, Space Hub for whatever reason. And then we've got, a little section over here. That's great. And in the future, I am working on, hopefully for release this October, a haunted house kind of gothic horror music pack, as well as a western and a sci-fi music pack. So there's going to be lots of different options in the future for that. So, well, I think that kind of covers all of the Tabletop Tunes walkthroughs. It's really just me, Relic Raider, and one other person. So if you got any questions, thoughts, concerns on this whole rundown, I'm all ears. Let's do a nice kind of creepy cave vibe. Time being. Spooky. So yeah. if you're interested in this, go check out Tabletop Tunes. Share it with your friends. Share it with your D&D cohort. Just hang around for a little bit longer here and then get back to the workday because there's lots of work that needs to be done. Work that needs to be done. Oh yeah, I forgot the stops playing. Outside of there. There we go. Awesome. Well, this was fun. Nice little short stream here, just showcasing Tabletop Tunes. I'm really, really excited to finally have it out after all these years. It's been a big adventure. So be sure to go check it out. Be sure to share it with your loved ones, your friends, your family, your clergy, and yeah. So that's all I got. Thanks for tuning in and take care. Oh. Did a Wild West quest for a month or two with our characters too. All got white cowboy hats to go. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. I remember we would play Settlers of Catan and various other board games back in the day, 12 years ago. My wife and we were just dating, and then some of our friends, and we would just do random costumes just serendipitously. It was just a fun time. I know it's super nerdy, geeky kind of stuff, but it's pretty fun. Don't knock it till you try it, jocks. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, especially you, Relic Raider, for being the commentier laureate of the video.